Hello, everybody. Welcome back to CCSN Snacktime. Benjamin Parris and Matt Weiss, joined today by Gunnar Helm, three-sport athlete at Cherry Creek, heavily recruited football player, over 20 college offers, including Alabama, Auburn, LSU, all sorts of schools in the Pac-12 and around the SEC. Gunnar, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself? Thank you for
Doing
taking
well?
time.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Obviously, not the circumstances right now. It's usually the spring, and we're hoping to see you on the lacrosse field this year after that state championship last year. But how are you hanging in there?
I mean, so far so good. Not really much to do around the house. Just trying to make the most of what I can do.
How you staying in shape, or how you staying physically active, and then we'll get into the other stuff too. I know both your sisters are home, so that adds a new dynamic too.
Yeah. So I mean, I just do whatever I can here, and then my gym is still open, so I go to Elite Speed and I work on like acceleration, deceleration. Then I lift there, and then I'll run routes with some other guys.
That's awesome. I saw that video yesterday with both the Gentrys.
Yeah.
And working with them, they're obviously two of the best to come out of the state recently. So those are great guys to be working with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Gunnar, you're one out of a handful of people that won 2 state championships back-to-back, going back to last school year with lacrosse and then football. Just what's it been like just to have so much success recently?
I mean, it's been cool, but in the family, I mean, I'm still in last place, I think. I mean, with Morgan being a Palm, she has 3. My dad has 2 or 3. So, I mean, I'm just trying to catch up to them.
And that game, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary. Just talk about how do you think iconic that snowstorm game will be, and how will you remember that for really the rest of your life?
I mean, just adding the snowstorm to it, it just makes it so much more unforgettable. And it was just, I think it was one of the most iconic sports, games, moments, whatever you want to call it, in Creek lacrosse history. Absolutely. Because, it wasn't just a sunny night in a stadium winning state championship. It was dumping snow. You couldn't even see the ground, had to change balls. I mean, it was just one unbelievable setting.
Yeah, obviously being a coach, I saw these guys, at halftime it was like raining. We didn't think we were going to come out to snow. Gunnar was a huge part of that championship team. And obviously you mentioned being a 3-sport athlete. He came off of hoops, so he really was finding his groove when he came to that. But I think just the mental toughness of those guys, when they saw the snow, is like they saw it as an opportunity just to dial in. And it just was like a domino effect. Every goal that went in, we got more and more confident and put them on their heels. And it was fun, the celebration on the sideline, and it was fun to share that with Gunnar. Pretty cool.
So, Gunnar, obviously, yes, basketball, lacrosse, football. How do you think those all kind of interconnect and play into each other?
Well, I mean, football and basketball, you play basketball to work on your footwork. It helps your footwork. Lacrosse just kind of keeps me in shape. But I think basketball is the biggest part because, playing defense, making moves, trying to get to the bucket. It helps you with your footwork, with releases and getting off the line, getting off the press for football.
Gunnar, top 3 favorite individual moments for you, one from each sport, while at Creek.
Ooh.
I could think of a few.
Yeah, I mean, both the state championships were pretty unbelievable. But that catch against Pomona, the last touchdown against Pomona, that was probably one of my favorite moments of the season. Or my first touchdown against Doherty. That was definitely one of them too. But basketball, probably the dunk against Mullen.
That look back pointer was pretty sweet too.
Thank you. Finally beating Grandview, and then lacrosse. I mean, obviously winning a state championship. My first goal. I mean, yeah, there was so many.
Yeah.
Weiss, I'm going to have you start like you did last time. The name of the show is Snack Time. What do you got going on today?
I already ate it, but I had apples, and, I mean, that was really it, just apples.
That's what my daughter's having. I got one of these. What? No. One of these, what are they called? RX bars. Simple packaging. Delicious. Really want to show her your snack? What do you have? Show me your snack.
I want to sit on feet.
Okay. Show me your snack, man. Got a granola bar. Never go wrong. What about you?
Working with the trail mix this week. The yogurt chips are the sleeper in the bag. They look like chocolate chips, but yeah, they're really good. So moving on, Gunnar, of course you're heavily being recruited and just on the trail and calls all the time. Do those, obviously because you've had so many of them, do those calls, are they still as special as the first one?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, any college coach that you get to talk to, I mean, it's completely honoring. Any offer you get, it's honoring. I mean, there was a stretch where, I got it was like Michigan State, then Alabama, and then Ole Miss, and then UNLV. And then it got back up to, Georgia. But, I mean, people are always like, well, it's a Mountain West offer, so it's not as important. I was like, no, I mean, every offer you get is honoring, and every offer you get is humbling and important for sure.
Is there any kind of schools that have really stood out? I know Miles Purchase has been talking about Kansas State a lot and their kind of recruiting graphics and stuff like that. Is there any schools that really think you go the extra mile in terms of the recruiting process?
Yeah, I mean, Kansas State, they send out a ton of mail. I mean, I think most of my mail's from them, or probably not most of it, but a lot of my mail's from them. Auburn's been on me pretty hard. LSU, I'm supposed to get on the phone with them later today. UCLA, definitely. Nebraska sending a lot of mail. Pitt sending a lot of mail. Wisconsin, I've been in touch with Wisconsin. So, I mean, everyone's really, pitching in and doing their part in, mail and graphics that they send and text messages and everything else.
And everybody probably wants to claim that they're tight end you these days, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So something I've always wondered is you see these a lot in waves where one school will come across Cherry Creek and give 3 or 4 guys offers. How does that really work? Do they go like state by state, or how does that really work, especially at Creek? Because, a lot of the D-back core gets offers at the same time and stuff like that.
Well, different coaches have different regions that they recruit in. So, probably like, for instance, an offensive line coach will probably have like the Western region where he goes like California, Nevada, Colorado, parts of Texas. I mean, they all kind of recruit in different regions. So, they'll come and they'll meet you. And then if they like you, they'll go back and they'll talk about you with, the position coach. And then everything kind of works through Twitter. So, you'll probably get a recruiting coordinator that follows you first, and then you'll probably get a offensive line coach or whoever runs your region for recruiting. You'll get him to follow you, and then once he comes to meet you, then he'll go back, and then you'll get a follow from the tight ends coach, and then depending on the school, you'll probably get an offer follow from the head coach, depending on the school. And then, they'll just text you one day and say, hey, call me, and they'll offer you a scholarship. So, I mean, it's different. It's different for every school. I mean, LSU, when they sent me one text. They just said, call me. I mean, I had no communication with them before that. They just said, call me, and then their tight ends coach offered me a scholarship. But, I mean, it's kind of been different. UCLA, I talked to them for probably 2 or 3 months before they offered. So,
and had a pretty cool trip out there too, right?
Yeah.
What's been your favorite trip?
I mean, I've only been on 2, but I mean, UCLA really stood out to me just because of the facilities and everything. I mean, I got there and I kind of felt like an idiot because I asked where their indoor facility was, and they go, why would we need an indoor facility? And it just kind of hit me, and I was like, wow.
I would have asked the same. I mean, these days you would think no matter what, I would have asked the same question. But go ahead, Ben.
So yeah, at home right now. Are you PS4, Xbox kind of guy? Watching anything on Netflix?
Yeah, Xbox. I mean, the Rage with Tiger King going on. I had to watch that show. I finished All-American a couple weeks ago at the start of, the stay-at-home. But, I mean, that's kind of all I've been doing. I mean, playing a little Xbox.
You finished All-American? You're all caught up? I don't want to be a spoiler.
Yeah.
You haven't watched it? Our last interview with Izzy D'Ambrosia, she was in the middle of it. But, yeah, awesome show. We binge-watched that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I love it.
Obviously, with being a football player, it connects a little differently. But I imagine you have a ton of travel that you're planning on doing this summer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
After just keeping things scheduled as is.
Yeah, I mean, with everything going on now, I wanted to take these trips in spring and then, finish them up in summer and then commit before the season. But now I'm probably going to have to take every single one of my visits in summer, and that's going to be tricky just because I wanted to be committed before the season started, but I just don't see that happening anymore.
Yeah, well, hopefully you get a chance to do all that and your season gets to start on time. I know we're all rooting and looking forward to Friday Night Lights. It's stellar, especially with talent that we have. And you guys, the other thing I want to bring up is just how much you guys all seem to support each other and how well you guys get along, not just this year when you were winning, but I saw you guys, started to get to know some of you guys 8th grade, summer, and then freshman year, obviously sophomore year. You guys just seem to be all such good friends, which obviously I'm sure helps on the field. What's that like, just being buddies with all these guys in addition to just all being so talented?
I mean, it goes back into lacrosse and football. I mean, both state championships were so special because you felt like a family when you won them, and it just made it that much better. But, I mean, we try to support each other as much as we can. Everyone started getting these offers like Chase and Al and Miles, and it was just so cool to see how our team was rising and growing as a family, and winning a state championship with them was just unreal. So, I mean, we don't say anything about back-to-back, obviously, because, it's a new season, new team. But, I think we'll be all right, as long as we just, stay focused, love each other, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
And going from football straight into basketball, of course, with Miles, Julian, Arden, just how important is it to be that close? Because you guys found success pretty quickly right after football.
Yeah, I mean, chemistry is what wins championships, and we had a lot of it. So, I mean, I didn't feel the same chemistry in basketball as I did in lacrosse and football, just because it was just kind of a different sport, a smaller team. But, I mean, I feel that chemistry already with football, just knowing that, we already won one, and people, kids just want to keep their head down and keep grinding. So, I mean, it's an awesome thing to be a part of.
So let's talk a little bit about what you mentioned earlier, the in-house competition. So I know your dad, he was football state champ, 83, 84?
Yeah, 83, 84.
Sport
No,
athlete?
82, 83.
82, 83? 82 was like kind of kicked off that whole new era of Greek mystique. What did he play any other sports?
Yeah, he played lacrosse.
We did.
Yeah, he decided not to play his senior year just because, he wanted a break, and they ended up winning the state championship. So, I mean, he was kind of bummed out about that, and he said it was, one of the biggest mistakes he's ever made. So, we really don't hear much about lacrosse, but, I mean, he lost one game his whole Creek career.
Wow. Did he play midi too, or was he more of a defender?
No, he was more – he played defense.
Yeah, which is the difference with you. You're, like, huge, but so athletic, so much finesse.
Yeah.
Obviously, Madison focused on club swimming, so no accolades as a Bruin specifically, but then Morgan, I mean, 4-year letter, varsity pom, 3-time state. Yeah. Does she remind you about that?
Oh, yeah, she does. I mean, I came home after the state championship, and, she kind of gave me the night, and then, the next day she was kind of like, well, you got one more to get up to me. And then, my dad will give me crap just because he went back to back, and he was like, well, the only way to catch up to me now is just doing one more football. So, I mean, I got some work to do for sure.
That's awesome. Any pull from or any pressure from Morgan as she is attending Alabama?
Well, I mean, I think she knows that Auburn's pretty high up on my list, but I mean that Iron Bowl every year, if I do end up going to Auburn, will be special for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Ben,
Do you want to touch on anything else?
I just say I sure wish your family the best, and it's been a lot to grow into experiencing all the success you've had over the course of the year. One sec. Yeah, I got you, sweetie. One sec. Okay, one sec. All right, I'm back. So I was just gonna say it's just been fun. None of this happens on accident. I know how hard you work, how focused you are. I've had no succeed. So looking forward to what you bring to the Creek community next year, because it's going to be a big year, both athletically, but also, you know, everyone will be excited to be back on campus. So
yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I guess we'll be looking forward to seeing you in the fall on Friday nights. Thanks for coming
Yes,
on,
sir.
Gunnar.
Thank you very much for having me.
thanks, buddy.